So there's a variety of different options when you're talking about going paperless. First, you may be familiar with scanning. Scanning yourself is one option. So there's a number of different types of scanners available, and I'm going to take you through the different types. So typically how this process works is you have some paper, you buy a scanner, one of these different types that I'm going to go through, you plug it into your computer, you feed the papers through. Some you feed through one sheet at a time, others you can stack many sheets in. The documents using a program on your computer get digitized, which means the computer reads the paper, stores it on the computer, on your hard drive, or wherever you choose for it to live. So you get the paper in, and then it lives on your computer. So there's many different types of scanners. And if we're going clockwise from left to right, the first one we're seeing is a mobile scanner. This is a single sheet-fed mobile scanner by Neat, the Neat company. This is called Neat Receipts. And essentially, this is very tiny. You put it in your briefcase or bag when you travel. You plug it into your computer, and then you scan through documents one at a time. And then they're stored within a database on your computer. The next one, which looks a little bigger, where you see the person pressing their finger to it, is called the Neat Desk. This is also from Neat. This one lets you put in a bunch of documents at a time and scan them all at once. You can separate them out later, or you can separate them out at the time of scanning, but instead of scanning things one at a time where you feed the sheets through yourself, you stick them all in the scanner and it scans them all for you. This is not something you'd likely travel with. These are usually bigger and bulkier, and they usually live on your desk. This is called a desktop automatic document fed scanner. The next one that looks like a printer is what's called a multifunction device, and many of us have these in our offices already. This is something that can print, scan, often they have fax machines inside as well. They can make copies. Usually these tools come with software that let you scan documents to your computer. Typically, these scan between 10 and 15 pages through their feeder, and these can work pretty well if you don't have a lot of documents to scan. Obviously, these are big and bulky, so you wouldn't be taking these with you. They would be living only in your office. And then finally, on the bottom, what we're seeing here is a portable automatic document fed scanner. So this combines the strengths of the two that are at the top, the smaller Neat Receipts and the larger Neat with the automatic document feeder. This is a portable document scanner that lets you put in multiple pages at a time. This is from Fujitsu. This is one of their ScanSnap models. So some of the benefits of using one of these self-scanning, lives on your desk or in your briefcase options, you maintain complete control over the documents from start to finish. So if you need extra security, you don't want the documents to leave your control, but you want to get them on your computer, scanning them yourself ensures that no one else is seeing your stuff. Only you see it, you scan it, and then if you want to, you can shred the document yourself after it's been scanned. So there's extra levels of security here. Whatever security system you have in your computer, whether that's password protected or maybe you encrypt your hard drive, any documents that you scan are as secure as your computer itself is. Another benefit here is sometimes when you scan things, they don't scan properly. And when you scan them yourself, you'll know it right away. So if something has an error, you're able to rescan it yourself right away when you have one of these self-scanning options. But there are significant drawbacks when you use one of these self-scanning tools. First, it takes a lot of time. Even if you have an automatic document feeder that lets you stick 50 pages in at the same time, you still have to check to make sure that the scans went through properly. And the scanning itself, even though the documents might feed through the scanner very quickly, typically scanning takes a lot of processing power on the computer, because your computer is not just taking a snapshot of the document. Typically, it's trying to read the text that's there or the numbers that are in your document so that when you want to search for your information later, you can perform searches on the documents that you've scanned. And that type of processing takes quite a bit of computer power, and it takes a while for documents to be scanned and processed. Additionally, in order to make sure that the documents have scanned the information properly, let's say you're scanning at a bunch of receipts or business cards, you'll likely need to double check to make sure that the information that got into the computer is exactly correct. Because what you don't want is to scan in a bunch of business cards and it got all the phone numbers wrong. or scanning a bunch of receipts and it got the dates or the amounts wrong. So there's still a significant amount of data and error checking that you'll need to use if you use one of these self-scanning options. Another drawback of using one of these tools is it's another thing that you need to find a home for. And when I'm working with clients, typically they already have a lot of stuff. So I'm usually very hesitant to get another thing that we need to find a home for on their desk or in their workspace. The smaller document scanners, truly they are very tiny, but again, they're very slow. You have to feed each sheet through one by one. The bigger scanners take up a significant amount of space on the desk. Another factor, these devices have a lot of moving parts, and they tend to wear out over time. The typical lifespan for one of these consumer-level scanners is maybe a couple of years. Many of these companies offer extended warranties on these devices, which I strongly encourage you to get if you choose to use one of these desktop-based scanning solutions. Because if you think about it, inside of the scanner, there are motors and wheels that pull the sheets through. There's a light that shines on the paper for the scanning. There's the scanning mechanism itself that scans the pages. There's a lot going on, and so these tend to not last all that long. A couple years is a good lifespan, I think, for each one of these types of devices. And finally, when you scan things to your own computer yourself, your data is tied to just one location. So you scan to your computer, and that's the only place that it lives. So who is this right for? This is right for people that don't have to do a lot of scanning. If you have a backlog of scanning, this may not be right for you. But if you've got just a few documents that you want to get on your computer, you've got a little stack, and you've got a little bit of stuff that comes in on a regular basis, this could be an okay option for you, especially if you have someone else do the scanning and the data checking for you. If you're a mobile professional that needs things scanned right away on the spot, let's say you're on a business trip and you need to get that receipt to your expense department that day, having one of the portable scanners lets you do that. If you're exceptionally security conscious and you don't want documents leaving your physical control at all, one of these might be a good choice for you as you maintain complete control of the scanning process. And if you're extremely cost conscious, one of these devices, especially if you're getting a multi-function printer, scanner, fax machine, you can get one of those for under $100. It may not do the best job of scanning, but it will do a job. It won't do the best job, but it will do the job. Who is this wrong for? If you're not dedicated to really maintaining the scanning habit on an ongoing basis, you'll end up with one of these devices sitting on your desk and a big stack of papers that are to be scanned sitting right next to it. I've seen this happen time and again with clients when they intend to get to scanning, but they find out exactly how long it takes, and so they never get to it. If you need your data with you wherever you go, you probably won't want to use one of these tools because, again, when you scan something to your computer, that's the only place that it lives. And if you're really short on time and you can't spare the time to scan, skip one of these entirely because, again, these take your time to first sort your documents, scan them, and then error check them to make sure they got scanned correctly. So let's look at the next option. Paperless tools that are service-based. So typically, these are cloud-based or internet services. So instead of having a physical scanner, you have a service that you subscribe to where they scan documents for you. So you collect your paper, whether it's at a conference or receipts from when you go out to meals with clients or things that you've generated yourself. You collect all your stuff, and then you send it to the service, which is typically based on the internet somewhere. So you might have an envelope that they prepay for you. You stuff things in the envelopes. You send them to the service. They scan them for you. They typically do the error checking for you as well. And then you access it on your computer. So it completely eliminates the scanning part of the equation. The service does the scanning for you. So some of the pros and cons. So one of the big pros is that it takes a lot less time. You don't have to do any of the scanning yourself. You simply collect your documents. Maybe you choose to organize them first, or maybe not. You put them in an envelope. You send them away. Everything gets scanned, and magically you receive an email or a notification. All your documents are ready. You then go to the website for the service and access your documents however you see fit. You can download them. You can leave them there. You can do all sorts of things with your documents, but you're not the one who's scanning them. So it saves you a ton of time. Another benefit is that it lets you have all of those great strengths of going paperless that we talked about before, where you have the highly mobile accessibility. Since these services are typically web-based, as long as you can log into the internet, you can typically access your stored documents. You can usually also share them easily with other people. So if there's a document that you needed scanned, you could send it into one of these services, and then once it's up online, you can collaborate on it with other people. Additionally, typically these services let you get information into them in a variety of ways besides just paper. You can often email in information that you want to store in your online database. You can clips with your cell phone. You can take photos with your camera. You might be able to fax things in and get them into one of these systems depending on which service you use. Some even let you use a regular old-fashioned desktop scanner to get information in. OfficeDrop, for instance, recently released a tool called ScanDrop, which lets you scan information directly into Google Docs. So there's a variety of ways that these tools let you get your stuff in, and then once you have it in, you can access it really from anywhere, anytime, even from mobile devices or from computers that are not even your own. Who is this right for? Honestly, I feel like this is the solution that's right for most people that I work with at this time, because many of the people that I work with have multiple computers. They work in different places. They're not tied down to one office. So if you're really mobile, or if you have multiple computers that you work with, an online service really lets you do all the different things that you would need to from one computer at any computer that you happen to be at. So if you're really mobile, this is a good choice for you. Also, if you have multiple computers, this makes it a lot easier to access all of your stuff. If you're extremely busy or short on time, these tools let you have all the benefits of scanning without actually having to do it yourself. And that's a really nice thing, because the desire for many clients that I have is that they really want to go paperless, but they know that they're not going to sit down once a week and spend an hour or two scanning in their documents. Honestly, if you think how much your time is worth, whether you're charging clients by the hour or if you're a salaried employee, typically these services are very inexpensive compared to however much either you could be making during that time or how much your company is paying you during the time that you would be spent scanning documents. Who is this wrong for? Again, if you're very concerned about security, your documents leave your control. Even though the companies that I'll be recommending in the next set of the webinar usually have great security, many of them use background checks on their employees that physically do the scanning, your documents do still leave your control at some point, whether that's sending them through the mail or having some other human see them. So if you're very concerned about security, these services may not be right for you. One bridge solution that I've used with some of my clients is they send the less sensitive documents to these services and then scan themselves only the ones that are truly sensitive and keep those only on their computer where they feel that it's more secure. Who else is this not the right solution for? If you like having a physical thing, whether that's a thing that lives on your desk like a scanner or software that lives on your computer, or you like having the physical documents live on your computer, these may not be the right solutions for you because you won't have a box that lives on your desk. There will be no scanner unless you choose to use one of the tools that lets you scan into these solutions. So there is no thing that you're going to get. Typically, you pay a monthly fee for access to the services along with a number of scans that you get per month depending on the tier of service that you choose. So if you like paying one price and being done for life, then this is not the right option for you. When you buy a scanner, you pay $100, $200, $300, and you're done until the scanner dies and you need to buy a new one. With these services, you can pay either a monthly fee or an annual fee, and that is ongoing for as long as you use the service. So there is no endpoint per se in choosing one of these online or cloud-based applications or tools.